So hello guys, and welcome to another video. And yesterday, Nintendo released the final trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, and it looks absolutely amazing. And I mean, I've always been really excited about this game ever since it was revealed in 2019, but I feel like this trailer kind of sold me on it even more than it already has already. Like, before I was kind of worried and a little bit skeptical that this game was going to be too similar to Breath of the Wild, because it seems to be reusing a lot of the original map, which I think kind of makes sense in terms of the context of the story and everything. But the way that they're handling it, based on what was shown in the trailer, it seems like it's going to be a lot different in how it's structured and how the gameplay is, and they have made some changes to the world itself, so I don't really think this game is going to be too similar to Breath of the Wild. I feel like my expectations before were a little different. Like, I was expecting, like either a very different world or, like, land that was kind of expanded on the ground, though that still might happen. Like, there's still are some like pictures and shots implying that there will be more explorable area on the ground, but there still seems to be a lot of new things to explore here. Like, on the ground itself, it does seem like they are adding a lot. Like, there's like these zonai structures and different things and outlines and things. So that might be something, like, I'm not sure if that indicates like dungeons or like some equivalent to shrines, but there's all of these like outline things that kind of like resemble like crop circles that I've been seeing like around the map that might have some kind of significance. And it seems like they're doing like something similar to dungeons here. Like, I don't think shrines are returning in this. Like, they really haven't shown any footage of shrines. Like, they would have shown it already in one of the trailers if they were going to bring back shrines. But it seems like they're not doing shrines. And obviously the Divine Beasts, like with that story, that was a part of the original story, so they have no need to bring back the Divine Beasts. That was kind of like a concluded story with the original game and everything, so they don't really need to bring those back. So it seems like the game is probably going to have a very different structure from the original game. They're probably going to have something like completely new here, or something comparable to Dungeons. I'm not sure yet. Like, it's weird. They haven't, like, I'm fine with what they showed in this trailer. I feel like it's fine to have like the structure of the game be a mystery, because we still do know that the game is going to be very different. But like, I have a feeling they're probably going to do something somewhat similar to Dungeons here, or have some kind of structure or some kind of thing that you do. Though they haven't really revealed it yet. They have kind of hinted at it in this trailer. Like, they had some areas where it looked like you were kind of solving puzzles. But I'm not really sure what they're gonna do with like any of the dungeons or dungeon equivalents in this game. So I'm kind of curious to see how that will pan out in the final game. So other changes that were kind of made to the world are like the Sky Islands, obviously. The Sky Islands seem to be a pretty important part of the game. Like, they're highlighting them a lot, so it kind of indicates that they're going to be very prevalent in the game, and they're definitely going to be like a very important aspect of this game, kind of like what they were showing here. Like, there's a lot of interesting things about the Sky Islands. Like, there's different sections, like where Link was like swimming through like a bubble and then platforming on these like floating platforms. That looked really interesting, and I'm just really interested to see what these Sky Islands are about. They seem to be like a very like major aspect of this game. There was like even like a floating one that kind of reminded me of Mario Galaxy a little bit, and there seems to be like hundreds of these islands that I've seen. So it seems pretty interesting. Like, it almost kind of combines like elements of Skyward Sword and Wind Waker together. Like, Wind Waker, where you're kind of like exploring the different islands, and then Skyward Sword, where you're kind of going in between like the sky and then the ground and everything. So it kind of seems like they're incorporating a lot of elements of that into the game. I definitely heard about the Skyward Sword influence. I think it might have been in an interview or something, I'm not sure. But I can definitely see the Skyward Sword influence here, like especially with the diving and different things. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, and then the final thing they seem to be changing a lot about the world are like the caves, and different things. So it seems like there's actually like some cave structures here, because there's some areas where like Link is clearly underground and kind of like exploring different areas. There was one where he was like on, I think he was on like a rail or a minecart or something fighting a combine. So I think that's really cool. Like how there's going to be different cave structures. And then there was also like a commercial that leaked recently where there was like a cave where everything was like pitch black, and then Link like shot like an arrow with light at something and then it lit up the cave. So I think the caves are going to be another aspect of the game that are going to be pretty interesting, but they haven't shown that much of it. They did show some on like a couple of the trailers, including the final trailer, but I think caves will have somewhat of a significant role in this game. But yeah, it seems like they're kind of expanding like vertically in this game, like with caves underground, presumably, and then the sky islands in the sky, obviously. So it seems like they're kind of doing a vertical expansion of the world here, because there's going to be a lot of verticality here, considering that there's going to be both like the sky, like it seems like you can go really high, in like up to these sky islands here, and then also these caves are pretty interesting as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to like, what changes are here and everything, because it seems pretty interesting. And there's also new mechanics as well, like the characters fighting alongside you. They didn't really reveal any information outside of that trailer, but it showed on a couple clips. There was like a bunch of characters surrounding Link. Like it seemed like a bunch of NPCs, like there was like some Hylians, like Goron, and then different like characters like that. So, and then there was also like a clip where Link was fighting a combine with Sidon. Sidon was alongside him. So I don't know. I think that might be a new mechanic. Like you can kind of have like characters fight alongside you. It might be somewhat comparable to like how the champions were able to give you abilities. I was thinking that at first, but it could also mean something else. It could be some kind of mechanic where you could like recruit different characters alongside you, because it kind of seemed like there was like a kind of like a small army of characters around Link. So that would be interesting. But another very unlikely theory that I have, that what if it's multiplayer? Like, what if it's online multiplayer? Because there was like I think there was like a leak a while ago about this game like having online multiplayer or something. So I wonder if this has to do with that. Like, I wonder if this is like multiplayer, either like co-op or online. That would be really interesting. Like, even though it's kind of hard to imagine in a very single-player oriented game, but I feel like they could pull it off. Like, I still feel like it would be pretty interesting. I mean, one game that I love that is open world and that is heavily centered around online multiplayer is Minecraft, and that works out really well. That's a game where you can do a bunch of creative and interesting things in. So I feel like it would definitely be fitting to have multiplayer in Tears of the Kingdom, like through that new system where there's like different characters fighting alongside you, but I don't think it's that likely. I think it might just be a mechanic where there's characters fighting alongside you. But other mechanics that were kind of touched on in other gameplay videos that were kind of shown off again in this trailer were like the Ultra Hand ability. And I just wanted to say, I love that name. I love that it's a callback to the one toy that Nintendo made like 50 years ago. I think that's pretty cool that it's a reference to that. I think they referenced it in like another game or something. They did like this weird game on the Wii or something with that, but yeah, I think it's pretty cool that they actually called that ability the Ultra Hand. But there's a really cool thing, like there's a lot of really cool things that were shown in this trailer that Link can do. There's like a mech that was kind of going towards like a stone talus with a bunch of bokoblins on top of it. That is just a really cool scene there. Like, and then there's like also like a bunch of other things too. Like that mechanic looks great, and I'm just really looking forward to using that. And then there's also one with like Link making a wagon with a bunch of like NPCs like riding on it. Skyrim reference. No, I'm just kidding. But that I wonder if that can mean like there's gonna be like really interesting side quests here. Like I'm not sure if that's like the army thing, like that, like the thing where characters fight alongside you, like that's characters that will fight alongside you, or like a multiplayer or something. But I feel like that one scene is probably showing like a side quest or something. Like you could build like a wagon or something to move like NPCs around. That definitely opens up a lot of possibilities for this game, because Breath of the Wild already had really good side quests. Like there was a side quest where Link could get a house, and then one where you could like build Terry Town. I thought that was really cool, and there's definitely a lot of potential for really interesting side quests in this game with new mechanics. So I'm really interested in seeing some of those. And then there's another thing that might be a side quest, that I saw, like, that's also kind of a change to the world as well. There were, like, some tents outside of, like, the area where the Hyrule Castletown ruins were. So I wonder if there's a quest, or a side quest. It might be a main quest, but I wonder if there's a quest in the game where you actually rebuild Hyrule Castletown, or that's actually, like, a central thing that you do in the game. That's one theory that I have. That would be really cool to see. Like, there was one scene where it showed, like, Link inside of, like, a restored Hyrule Castle. So, like, it was, like, in the Sanctum. So I wonder if you could, like, rebuild, like, the Hyrule Castletown in this game. I know there's, like, all the areas where, like, the Hyrule Castle is, like, surrounded by palace and everything, but I don't know. I feel like there could be some kind of, like, town that you rebuild. I think that would be really interesting, and it would definitely be a pretty interesting quest in the game. So finally, well, another thing that I wanted to mention before the final thing is, like, the enemies and bosses. So, I know they showed this in other trailers, but there's, like, a lot of variety with the different enemies in the game. And I can't really get into the specifics, because there's, like, a lot that I forgot about, but, like, already we're seeing, like, some of them, like, the Combines, and, like, new variations of different enemies. So, and then also new enemy formations and bases as well, which look interesting, like the, Stone Talus, structure with, like, the bokoblins on top, which looked pretty cool. So, yeah, and then there's also the bosses. Like, it seems like there's, like, a few new field bosses, as well as, like, another boss that they kind of shown. So, the Gleeok from the original Zelda is actually gonna be in this game, like the three-headed dragon. So I think that's really cool. And there was a leaked trailer that also kind of got out recently that showed that it was, that one in the trailer specifically was a fire Gleeok, kind of suggesting that there's gonna be multiple of them, kind of, which suggests that this is gonna be a field boss. So, like, kind of like the Lynels in the Hinoxes and Talus in the original game. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. There's, like, that really opens up the potential for a lot of interesting field bosses. So I guess the field bosses in this game are going to be, like, even more, like, massive and interesting than the ones in Breath of the Wild, which kind of makes me wonder, how big are, like, the main bosses in the game going to be? Or, like, even the final boss of the game, like, I wonder what the scale of those will be. Like, already, like, the normal enemies are already seeming pretty powerful. Like, there's, like, a lot of, like, interesting, like, enemies. Like I said, like, the one structure, like, there's a bunch of, like, interesting structures with, like, the bokoblins and things that they're building that are, like, moving around. And then there's also, like, a bunch of, returning enemies from other Zelda games, like the Re-Deads and different things. And it just, like, I feel like with the new Fuse ability, it's definitely kind of, it's kind of balancing everything out, and it kind of will make it easier to fight some of these stronger enemies. So, Yeah, and then there was also like one boss that it showed like towards the end of the trailer. It was like either the end or like in the middle of the trailer. It was like some kind of like ice dragon thing. Like I forgot what it was, but it looked massive. And yeah, it looked really interesting. So I'm just really interested in seeing like the scale and the scope of the bosses and enemies in this game, because I'm really looking forward to it. So finally, I wanted to talk about the story and the characters a little bit. And with the story, like I mentioned, it's very mysterious, kind of like many other aspects of the game. It's still like very like unknown, like what the story will exactly be. We don't really have a cohesive idea of what the story will be like here, which I actually think is a good thing, because I feel like that's something that will kind of surprise players in the final game. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that will play out and everything. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that in the final game. And then also with characters, Ganondorf. Ganondorf is returning in a mainline Zelda game, for the first time in quite a while. I think it's Twilight Princess, like the last time he was in, like, a mainline Zelda game, which is very surprising. Like, I'm seeing people saying 17 years since he was last in, like, a mainline Zelda game, and I was like, what? What? Like, but yeah, apparently the last game he was in, like, in his form as Ganondorf, was Twilight Princess. So yeah. But yeah, it is pretty cool seeing his design here, and his design looks really good. I really like his design. Like, they have like renders and different, well, the artwork and different things like that. And that one shot of him, where he was like yelling in that one scene where there was like a bunch of stuff surrounding him, like malice and stuff. That shot in the trailer goes hard. But yeah, then there's also like a couple clips of like some other characters, like some completely new characters, or like some characters that we don't really know who it is. Like, there's one shot that kind of implies like Demise from Skyward Sword returning. Then like I feel like that's at least what some fans are theorizing. And then there's also like the character that kind of resembled Zelda that some people are like kind of speculating to be Hylia. So that would be really interesting. So like, it seems like a lot of things are coming together with this story in terms of like the Zelda lore and like the Zelda continuity overall, or at least in the timeline that Breath of the Wild is in. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this pans out. So yeah. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I am really looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom now that this trailer is out. So yeah. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. And make sure to check out my Discord server if you want to. Goodbye.